Okay, good morning everybody, it's Mike, and thanks for joining me this morning. I'm going to start off with a question for you, and then we're going to explore the answer to this question each morning this week, Monday through Thursday. I guess my question this morning is, do you ever worry about money? Do you ever have a lot of anxiety about money? Do you ever have that 3 a.m. wake-up call where you lay there and you're worried? And you're adding up the bills you have to pay, and then you add up the money that you have or hope to have by the time those bills come due? Do you have obligations coming at you in the future? Maybe it's a child's education. Maybe it's a home repair that you know is coming. Maybe it's a health issue. Do you ever have these things? Do you ever worry about money? I have. Many of you that know me personally know I'll have a poor story with you. We can see who's been the poorest. In my life, I was raised by a single mom. I've been as poor as you can be poor. And in my career in real estate, when I first got started, I had everything happen to me. Well, what I think is everything. I think many of us think that. Lights turned off, IRS issues, you name it. I can go story for story with you on that stuff. And being poor is hard. And having money, and I've gone on in my real estate career to make more money than I ever thought was possible. And that's hard too. And I love the old thing, being poor is hard, and having money is hard. Choose your hard, right? There's a thing in our business though, it's called the Pareto Principle. And many of you are familiar with this, at least at a surface level. And the Pareto Principle says this, that the top 20% of people, I'm just going to use our industry, but it applies across the board. The top 20% produce 80% of the results. And the reverse is true, that 80% of the agents in our business produce 20% of the results. That top 20%, they're good when it comes to money. Yeah, they have concerns and they have to plan, but they're not getting the 3 a.m. wake-up call where they have anxiety around their ability to meet their obligations. And then there's the 20% of the 20%. So you might be listening to me this morning and you say, yeah, well, on my sales record, I'm in the 20%. Okay, then there's the 20% of the 20%. That's the top 4% of agents in the U.S. And they don't have any money worries at all. They don't. They're good. All of their financial needs are met. They're saving, they're investing, and they're in good shape. And what I want to do this week through this series of calls is I want to get each of you into that top 20%. And for those of you that are already there, I want to get you to the top 4%. I want to show you the difference. I want to show you the secrets. Yeah, there's no secrets. But we're going to explore this. And I hope that I can prove something to you this week, that the difference is really, really small. The difference is inches, not miles. You know, a horse that wins by a nose earns 10 times more money than the horse that finished second. Did the horse that won by a nose, is he 10 times faster? Is he 10 times better? Is he twice as good as the next horse in the race? No. The agents that are in the top 20% make 16 times more money each year than the 80%. Listen to me on this. If you're in the top 20% of agents in the country, you're making 16 times more money than the bottom 80%. And I'm going to prove to you this week that the difference between you and the 80% isn't that much. It's little bitty things. If you're in that top 4%, you make 54 times more money than the agents in the bottom 80%. 54 times more money. Are you 54 times better? You are not. Are you 54 times more smarter? You are not. Are you working 54 times harder? You are not. It's just little bitty things. You know my thing, tiny hinges swing big doors, right? And I'm going to prove it to you this week. And I want to start off by just sharing this with you. There was a study recently done on Kentucky Derby winners, the horses that have gone on to win the Kentucky Derby. And they averaged their earnings out over their career. Okay, if a horse can have a career, their career is in racing. And they averaged out the earnings against the horses that finished second in the Kentucky Derby. And what they found was that the horses that were first earned 10 times more money during their racing career than the horses that finished second. But are they 10 times better? I mean, sometimes they just won by an inch or two, right? What's the difference in that inch or two? You know, the famous golfer Arnold Palmer, when they go back and they study his strokes per round scoring average, the difference between him, who is a legend, who is in the Hall of Fame, who is world renowned, the difference between him and a professional golfer that you never heard of before, who never won anything, it's less than one stroke around. One stroke around. It's the tiny hinges, folks, that swing big doors. It's the small micro commitments that we're going to make and keep each day. And we're going to run through those this week. But if you think the difference between you and the top agent in your office is some giant ocean of talent and skill and motivation, that they just have so much more going on than you do, you're wrong. And I'm going to prove it to you. The difference between the top 20% and the bottom 80%. Keep in mind the top 20% makes 16 times more money than the other 80%. The differences are small, but they're powerful. They're the small, daily, little habits. Do you have a written schedule? Are you trying to follow the written schedule? Do you treat all activities as appointments? Are they committed into your schedule? Is your schedule specific? Don't tell me that you've got prospecting at 9 o'clock this morning. Tell me what kind of prospecting marketing that you're going to be doing. Don't tell me that you're going to make videos at 10 o'clock this morning. Tell me what kind of videos you're going to make. Do you think that top 4% that's making 54 times more money is 54 times better than everybody else? Do you think they're getting up at like 2 o'clock in the morning and getting to work? Do you think they have more time in every day than you do? Do you think they have more God-given skill and ability? Do you think that's 54 times more? It's not, folks. They're small little tweaks and adjustments. And if you'll come join me each morning this week, I'm going to share what those are with you, because I've been there and done that, and I don't have a problem telling you what it is, in the hopes that you'll adopt it and incorporate it into your day too, because they're not huge changes. They're small little changes. They might be inconvenient. They might be a tad uncomfortable, but I'm not going to ask you to change who you are. I'm going to ask you to make small little tweaks. And Wednesday morning at 10:30, if you'll come join me for an hour, we're going to explore this in a lot more detail. Now, this is Mike, and I'm asking you to go out there and make it happen for yourself today.